Anyway.
In your dick.
In your dick.
If you don't have a dick, go get one. We'll wait.
And let us know in the comments below.
That you got a dick?
That you got a dick. Hello there! This is Jervin, this is Matt, right here, me. This is our top 10 movies of 2012.
My number 10 movie is 21 Jump Street. First of all, I'm a big fan of Clone High, so knowing that the directors of that were working on this and Cloud with Meatballs was good too, I was excited. But still, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. Turns out Channing Tatum, fucking hilarious.
He is fucking hilarious.
Really, really big surprise. Probably my favorite comedy since Superbad. Came out of nowhere in the spring. Fantastic movie.
My number 10, however, was The Grey with Liam Neeson. Okay, I love Liam Neeson. It doesn't matter if he's in a bad or a good movie. Generally, he just makes the movie better. It was a really good plot. I really enjoyed the character development in that movie. You kind of get the gist of who everyone is that's the survivors of this plane crash in the middle of nowhere. And as it goes on, you kind of learn a little bit about each one of them. And even the guy that you actually hated in the movie at the start, you kind of start to feel just sorry for him after a while. And I felt myself caring a lot about the characters, so it was really good. I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. It's kind of what I expected it to be, so I'm happy for that.
My number 9 is Detention, which is really hard to explain.
And hard to follow.
It will make your brain hurt.
Yep.
It's insane in the best possible way. It's every conceivable type of teen movie put into one, to the point where the angry douchebag jock has a superhero backstory and then is killed by a slasher. There's a time-traveling bear from an alien planet.
They even go back to the 90s where it's like all these 90s cliches and stuff. And that movie.
Yep, the Freaky Friday thing where they end up switching roles and the daughter is the mother. The mother becomes the daughter. It has Dane Cook in it, and it's good. So
yeah,
if you like the fact that someone pukes into a urinal and the puke forms in like alphabet, like serial letters, the name of the director at the end of the credits, that gives you a good idea of what you're going for with this movie.
Yeah, well, that brings me to my number 9, which is Chronicle. Now, Chronicle is about 3 high schoolers that go down a hole and find this weird meteorite crystal thing, and they get telekinetic powers from it. And it's about their experiences experimenting with it and like developing their powers and stuff like that. And it gave me a nice new thought on telekinesis and like. And then there's also like the one kid is like abused and in a really shitty situation. It's Akira style as far as like the character development is concerned. I really like the movie, and it's probably the best movie that is shot with the
found footage.
Found footage style.
It actually redeems found footage.
Yeah.
It makes it worthwhile because the actual reason it's happening is itself character development for the like abused kid, because he's been so abused and he really hates his life and everything. He kind of distances himself from everyone by shooting everything through a camera.
Yeah, and eventually he's just like...
And then you get to open it up by, hey, I'll just use my telekinetic powers to have the camera floating, so then all of a sudden it's shooting everybody.
Yep.
It's,
and then it's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it gives them the excuse to actually pan in and do stuff instead of it just being from the first person all the time and having that kid behind the camera. So I highly recommend it, and it's on Netflix, so definitely check it out. So that's my number 9.
My number 8 is Moonrise Kingdom, which is Wes Anderson's latest, and also I would say his best, replacing Life Aquatic for me as his best film. It's weird. I mean, it's Wes Anderson, so it's usually weird, but it's somehow both really playful and really emo at the same time. It's a really delightful movie full of excellent acting from the kids are all amazing. Edward Norton's amazing. Bruce Willis is good. Francis McDormand is good. Bill Murray is Bill Murray.
I should probably watch this movie.
It's good.
Move on to my number 8, which is Dredd. I love Dredd. We've already had a movie review on it. You know all what we think of Dredd. And some good violence and gore plus slow-mo equals generally entertaining shots. Really, really simple plot. Karl Urban probably doing some of his best work. Mind you, you don't see his face, but that's a good thing because Dredd never takes his helmet off. It's just Karl Urban frowning the whole time. And, yeah. Definitely worth seeing. It just came out on Blu-ray on January 8th, so at any point you could probably just go pick it up.
Hopefully lots of people pick it up, because no one went to see it in theaters, and
yeah,
I would like a sequel because it was amazing. My number 7 is The Hobbit, which we also did a review on. It's awesome. Once again, I'll reiterate, if you've heard people say it's like, it's okay, but it's kind of slow, it's not as good as the Lord of the Rings movies, they're wrong. It's just as good as the Lord of the Rings movies. It's fun. It's fast-paced. I don't know why people talked about, it's so long. It's like, no, it's not. It just flies by. It's more lighthearted than Lord of the Rings are, but obviously, it's The Hobbit versus Lord of the Rings. Everything's awesome about it. Gandalf is awesome. He's kind of a dick, but in the best way.
Yep. He's a cop.
He's a cop on the edge.
Cop on the edge. Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't play by your wizard rules. He'll do things his own way.
My number 7, as Jervis already pointed out, is 21 Jump Street. Since he's already talked about it, I really don't need to say much. Channing Tatum was a huge surprise. It was kind of weird seeing Jonah Hill being skinny, but they were a good team up, and I really enjoyed that movie. And especially the banana dick at the end.
Which was made up, like that was not in the script. They just kind of threw that in on set.
Same with Channing Tatum throwing up in that one scene. He surprised me with his improv skills in those scenes. It's just like, just throwing something in there. And like half that movie is just something thrown in there almost, really. So, and you got pretty much almost all Channing Tatum to thank for that.
Yep.
So that says something about his real character, like himself. So, very good movie. Definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. Yeah.
Number 6 for me, The Avengers.
Well, so is mine.
Oh hey.
Hey. Yeah.
Amazing, awesome film. If you're a fan of superheroes, you'll love it. It's the third highest gross movie ever. You've probably seen it. But if you're a fan of Joss Whedon, you'll love it. If you're a fan of big action scenes, you'll love it. If you'd love to see if someone could do the second half of the third Transformers movie in a way that's not a pile of Michael Bay shit, watch the last half hour of Avengers, because they're like, hey look, here's a giant battle, it's basically the same thing, but you can follow everything, and it's exciting and tense.
And Hulk.
And Hulk.
Yeah, I'll agree with pretty much everything that Jervis said. Is all the characters, like, you don't think I just like the way that they bring the characters to the point where they're kind of just bickering and stuff, and then they all come together as a team, and it's really good. And the conclusion's good. The whole thing with these movies is that, you know, they always leave it open for another movie, so expect to, you know, obviously the Avengers is going to be you know, have a sequel, so that'll be good. Iron Man 3, I'm stoked for that now too. You know, it just good action movie, really solid. Yeah, that's our number 6. So definitely see it if you haven't already. Who are you if you haven't? Tell us below. So that brings us to.
And also, if you haven't seen it and you got a dick just recently, tell us below.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you didn't see it.
If you acquired a dick recently,
you were busy getting a cock, so you didn't see Avengers.
That's fine. We understand.
You gotta have priorities.
Yeah.
So,
number
5, The Raid Redemption. One of the best action movies ever made. Like up there with Die Hard. It's amazing. It's brutal. The fight choreography in it is insane. It's got the most bare bones plot ever. There's a bad guy in this building. We're a bunch of cops. We're going to go in and get him. that's like the whole plot. There's a few little twists later on, but really that's the whole plot. And then there's lots of fighting and machetes and fighting and falling out of buildings and machetes and getting stabbed in the neck with a halogen light bulb. Having like blood pouring out of the hollow bulb and keeping fighting for like 5 more minutes.
That brings me to my number 5, which is Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is a modern-day horror film with some interesting twists and turns and stuff like that. Basically, these kids go up to this cabin, and it's being monitored by this organization, and basically they're trying to keep the old ones at bay by sacrificing people for them, rather. And there's all sorts of like weird stuff going on, and like bets going on, and there's really twisted dark humor that's really great, especially the phone call. Who was the phone call to again?
The creepy, what was his name?
Oh,
Mordecai.
right, Mordecai.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy at the gas station that points them in the direction. So that's like kind of ripped from The Hills Have Eyes kind of idea.
I'm still on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're just making fun
That's
of him.
really rude. But he goes back to his like crazy rant.
So if you haven't seen that movie, give it a shot. It's really good. It's got like sort of a Lovecraftian theme to it at the end, like more so.
Yeah, it's got everything.
Yeah, like pretty much everything. Definitely see it. Moving on to your number 4, sir.
My number 4 is Looper. Just like The Raid is one of the best action films of all time, Looper, one of the best science fiction films of all time, up there with like Blade Runner and stuff. Amazing time travel movie that specifically doesn't get bogged down in the details of time travel and uses it basically as a setup for a really weird film noir. Excellent near future technology, great atmosphere of just kind of like a really depressed and exhausted society in the future. Fantastic acting, just everything about it is great. And if you haven't seen it, you really should.
My number 4 is Hobbit. I'm just going to probably repeat everything Jervis said. The critics are wrong about the pacing. The pacing is good. The whole thing is that there's a lot of dwarves, and you know, no one fucking remembers any of their names, okay? There's like Balin and Oakenshield, and like that's about the only ones you really need to worry about. And there's going to be 2 more movies, so I'm sure that we'll get to know them. They didn't take anything away from the actual book itself, but they added to it, which is interesting. Radagast, he shows up and he's like got a little bit more. He's a little bit more involved in the movie than he is in the book, and as well as, well, the one scene that they didn't really need to add was the rock giants fighting, but I mean, whatever.
I heard from some people apparently that was actually in The Hobbit. I don't remember it at all.
If you know where the hell that is in The Hobbit, comment below. Anyway, and then the Necromancer in the Woods, like, and then Saruman being already evil, and it's good.
My number 3 is Cabin in the Woods. It's awesome. It's a fantastic meta-commentary on the modern state of horror films, but at the same time you can ignore all that and just have fun with a really funny, smart, well-made horror film. Honestly, anything in my top 5 in most years would be like a strong contender for best movie of the year. It's just a really, really good year this year. So yeah, go see Cabin in the Woods if you haven't. Merman.
So my number 3 was Looper. As Jervis already mentioned, it was an awesome movie, and if you like, near future sci-fi, and you're not weirded out by Joseph Gordon-Levitt's makeup, then yeah, you should probably watch that movie. And if you haven't already seen our review of it, you can always go back to our old videos and check it out. So we both got the same 2 in 1, so let's just talk about this stuff together.
Alright, number 2, Django Unchained. It's our most recent review, so you could probably just go and find it and watch it. It's awesome. It's, if you're a fan of Tarantino, it's another great Tarantino movie. If you're a fan of westerns, it's an amazing western. If you're a fan of good movies, it's one of those too. It's an excellent, bloody, violent. I mean, at the end it becomes a revenge flick, but it's pretty much a revenge flick for
half an hour.
Like all of black people, against the institution of slavery.
A lot of people are saying that the movie is racist, and it's not.
No, they're stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're in agreement that that movie was definitely the second best movie of 2012. And there is a clear winner, in our opinion,
Yep.
2012. And I don't think it's anyone else's clear winner, but...
I've seen it on a couple lists.
Has it been?
As a number one.
Yeah.
Not very many. And not a single nomination for the Oscars this year.
Which is stupid.
But yeah, Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
It's absolutely amazing. It is one story that is 6 stories that is at the same time completely just one story. It's science fiction action and creepy post-apocalyptic survivalist and period piece and comedy
Yeah.
all at the same time, but all at completely different times. It's amazing. It is a fantastic film.
And this is another movie that kind of took on the racial spotlight again, because they have the same actors being being portrayed in the movie as different characters. So, some of them are white people as Asians.
People who hadn't seen it were
And-
very upset that they had
yeah.
white people as Asians. It's like, why wouldn't you give these parts to Asian actors? Like, well, they've got
And like
Asian-
Halle Berry as a white person.
Yeah, and they've
And-
got Duna Bai as a white as a ginger, and everyone plays different roles. They've got Hugo Weaving as a woman.
Yeah. Nurse.
Yep.
Lovely lady. But yeah, I mean, if you actually watched the film and you actually understood it, there's no racism in
the
there.
reason is because everyone's playing the same soul at different points in
history.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going on the whole, this whole soulmate kind of deal thing here. So, in one life, you are generally one personality, one person. You have your own morals and stuff like that, and you carry them on to your next life. And that's what the movie is sort of portraying in a sense. And eventually,
and it does some really interesting things with it, where sometimes it isn't even a actual temporal progression through the years, where in one of the future stories the couple gets separated and killed, and then they get to live out their happy life 300 years earlier.
really, it's just about if it doesn't happen to if you, for example, you don't find love in this life, then you'll find the one you're supposed to be with in the next, maybe, or the one after that,
the last one,
or
happen at some point,
somewhere along the line, you will find your happiness. It just you might not this lifetime, but there's hope after death.
And the other major thing in it is about making the world, actually fighting to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't matter what you do as long as you do something, because something is better than nothing.
Yeah. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
What is the ocean but a multitude of drops? I could see that this not getting nominated for Best Director, because there's 3 of them, and the Academy would just be like, I don't understand how it would work that. But editing, because the editing of this movie
would have taken a long ass time.
Would just blow my mind. Just yeah, I have to what now?
Yeah.
And not even be nominated. Good work, Academy, showing what a fantastic and useful thing you are not.
Anyway, yeah. So Cloud Atlas is our number 1.
What we will do is some other films we want to mention. This was a really good year. Just at the end with Django, I had to cut Dredd out of my top 10, which really sucked, because in most years Dredd would easily be a top 5 film. But for me, not in 2012. There's some films I still, and we didn't see everything. I've heard really good stuff about Lincoln, Argo.
Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, Zero Dark 30, which we had no option to see in 2012.
Yeah.
So they're probably awesome, but we haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. I haven't had a chance to see that yet either. I'm sure there's a couple others. As far as stuff I did see,
And Hunger Games.
yeah, Hunger Games wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't that great. Just
I don't understand how this, like, all the critical acclaim it got. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was like, meh.
If you want to see a bunch of kids kill themselves, watch
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Because it's way better.
It is way better.
It's way better, and also, even though it has way, way more kids, and is shorter, you get to know them and their personalities way better. Like the one girl who was like a redhead who runs away from things, who was in the background a couple times in Hunger Games, then killed herself by eating poison berries off screen.
Yeah.
He got eaten by the giant monster dogs.
Monsters, yeah. Whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, it was not really good. What was, I mean, it wasn't great, but was way better than the huge flop that it was John Carter. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It definitely had some flaws. The plot could have been a little tighter. It tried to work in too many aspects from too many of the books all together, resulting in basically you had two villains, one who was interesting and was a puppet, and one who was boring and was kind of the main villain, but then just kind of there was no resolution to it. So it wasn't perfect, but it was thoroughly enjoyable. And John Carter has the best dog ever.
There's also a mention of that we didn't see Ted either.
Yeah, that's true.
And we need to probably watch that because everyone was saying how fucking hilarious that movie is. So, and then some other mentions that are not so good. Prometheus being the #1.
Yeah.
That movie was probably my biggest disappointment since
Ever?
I don't really remember anything else disappointing me so much.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I mean, there's been certainly much worse movies than Prometheus.
Oh, yeah.
But there's never been a movie that I was so excited for and so sure would be amazing, and then it came out and was that bad.
For me, like, Aliens and Alien are some of my, like, those are close to being my favorite movies of all time. And for this piece of shit to come out, don't make another Blade Runner. Batman Dark Knight Rises could have been a whole lot better. It's not the biggest disappointment because I kind of saw it coming, but
I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near as good as Dark Knight.
Because Joker.
But still, it's like it's enjoyable when you're watching it, but then like pretty much as soon as you leave the theater, you're like, wait a minute, that
doesn't work.
What?
No. Yeah.
And then the plot holes just grow and grow and grow. Batman shouldn't always be trying to give up being Batman. That's
not what he's
completely against his entire being.
And so yeah, that was last year. You got anything else to add?
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
If you have anything else to add.
If you have anything else to add, or if you want to see something, please let us know in the comments below. Ask us a question. Tell us about your dick.
Ask us a question about our dicks.
So anyway, I'm Matt and this is Jerva with the Busted Couch, and we'll see you next time.
This is our end of year pose.
End of the year. End of 2012.